Hi there. I want to talk to you today about the innovative aspects of HR, the HR innovations of 2024 and beyond 2024, but they'll definitely be important in 2024. So the first one may surprise some of you, or you might contend with, given our more recent wave of return to the office, being back in person. Some companies 4 days a week, some companies 5 days a week. But one growing trend in HR that will continue in 2024 and beyond is identifying those hidden workers. And you might ask, well, what are the hidden workers? Those are those not so obvious workers. Those, say, for example, moms who have not completely came back to the workforce physically. They are workers who may have some disabilities that may challenge them being in the office. However, they are phenomenal contributors and they will also be available remotely. And then there are those workers who just provide that really hard to find skill set that may be across the globe or across the country, who you will identify. That being said, what we will see is this continuous trend of identifying hidden talent that may be remote, that otherwise we may not be adding to our workforce, the workforce of our organization. So interestingly, while we will continue to see in the short term a lot of return to the office movements among organizations, among companies, in the long term of 2024, we will see organizations really leveraging those remote opportunities to identify those hidden workers. And you might say, well, those sound a little counterintuitive. Well, not really, because what we're seeing is this continuous war on talent, this labor shortage, and that's being identified as we can see the job numbers continuingly to be released on a positive trend, on a trend where there are an abundance of jobs available for people to work, in extremely low unemployment rates, still around 3.7%. So as that continues, we'll see those organizations, especially those cutting edge organizations, really taking advantage of those hidden talent markets, those individuals who perhaps they typically would not have joined the organization, but in order to find that best talent, especially in those hard to fill skill sets, they'll be tapping into those hidden markets. Another trend that we'll see will be and this is a continued trend actually, is we'll continue to see a lot more organizations use the title Chief People Officer in lieu of Chief Human Resources Officer. And of course, there's nothing wrong with the Chief Human Resources Officer title, but that CPO, that Chief People Officer title, signifies an expansion of that CHR role to include far more than what we may traditionally consider HR. We'll continue to see, especially in new generations, continue to see that social responsibility, sustainability, environmental sustainability, for example, community action being more and more important to organizations as it's more and more important to those generations entering the workforce, seeing that as a value-added proposition for organizations that they're entertaining to enter as well as to stay. So I believe we will continue to see this expansion of the Chief Human Resources role, not only in matter of fact of what they're responsible for, but also in title. So we'll continue to see expansion of that Chief People Officer title specifically. And then a third trend, which is another one that you might find interesting, is really a more systemic focus, a more comprehensive focus of DE&I plus B. So that B being belonging. So what we will see is less of the trendy diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and more of the systemic efforts, really looking more intrinsically of what we're doing as an organization from a systemic perspective. For example, percentage of leadership that's represented by diverse groups, the suppliers that are used in a variety of areas. Are we using diverse suppliers? Looking at it from a specificity of the level of retention. What are we doing to retain diverse employees? So we're going to see a more systemic approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as more of an emphasis on that belonging piece. So not only are we looking at the numbers, but also what are we doing to now ensure that everyone feels belong, and really looking at that cultural aspect of it. And then AI, as we know, is very, very popular these days. And so what we will be seeing is AI impacting HR, just like it's going to have a great influence on every other area, every other industry. HR is no exception to that. And so from a more direct impact, we're going to see the requirement of skills in order to work with AI. What they're predicting, at least the Beamery company, is that at least 60% of roles in HR and outside of HR will need to enhance their skills over the next 4 years in order to adapt to a more AI environment. So we know AI is coming. We know it's going to impact a lot of processes within HR and otherwise. And so that means for HR, we're going to be directly as well as indirectly impacted. Being ready and prepared to use it within our immediate functions, but also prepared to support that growth in other functions. So those are the immediate trends that we're seeing for HR in 2024. So I hope you all are ready for those. It's going to be very exciting, and especially for early adopters. So just continue to keep that pulse out to see the exciting things coming with AI and otherwise, and have a good day.